Did we get new music while I was gone? What is this? Jordan Klein getting those big fat beats going. What's going on, everybody? Happy MLB Live Before Lock, because that's what this is. It's 6 p.m. out there on the East Coast, 3 p.m. here. I'm Eric Lindquist, excited to be talking through this 5-gamer. Excited to maybe never hear that song again in my life, because that was not the song that I was going for. Just like, hey, this early slate, not the slate that I was hoping for. Every team put up infinity runs. We're watching Houston put up a 20 spot. That was lovely, but you know what? I guess we should talk about some baseball here. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell as we get going. And the guy that I'm getting going with, his second MLB Live Before Lock of the day, Adam Scherer at Ship My Money DFS on the Twitters. My dude, how excited are you to be here?
I'm thrilled.
That's it?
Yep.
How are you? Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well. The early slate didn't go great. Had a lot of White Sox, had a lot of Astros, but didn't quite get there. Gonna clear that one up real quick. Adam was not touting Giolito at all. Adam said he was the most talented unknown pitcher.
Yeah, I had zero of him, but also didn't matter because offense, if you didn't have St. Louis and if you didn't have Houston, you didn't win money. Oh, and Zach Gallen, he seemed important. Love that man. Love that man too. Wish I had even more of him, but just keep betting Arizona when Gallen is on the mound, when Merrill Kelly's on the mound. Those are two good things you should do, just like hitting that like button, of course. But hey, Adam, let's turn that frown upside down. Let's talk a little baseball because I am excited for this slate. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be playing a little bit of FanDuel here today too. That's kind of risky, frisky stuff going on, but I'm excited for it. Anything that stands out to you before we start digging into this? We're going to go game by game. Then we're going to talk stacks, pitchers, and put it all together at the end.
Yeah, nothing too specific other than there's a lot of pitching on the slate. So it was kind of weird, like doing my tournament plays videos earlier because there's a lot of good pitching.
Yeah, there's that Jacob DeGrom guy. 50% strikeout rate. Is that good?
Yeah, it's decent.
Yeah, it's average stuff. Just like, just your average run of the mill host here, trying to make a dollar, help the people out. Let's get to it. I want to start with the first game because that's the only place to start. Otherwise, it would be the second game. Boston, minus 145 at Pittsburgh, 8.5 total runs in this one. We get the pleasure of watching just a stout pitching matchup of Josh Winkowski and JT Brubaker. I'm assuming these aren't the two pitchers that you were referring to that you like.
No, they're not. Brubaker actually, I think, is a reasonable play. I mentioned him on FanDuel specifically because he's only 8,400 in my tournament plays video. He is a decent arm, 23% strikeout percentage this year. XFIP is just shy of 4, but not a great matchup against Boston. And on a slate with as much good pitching as we have, certainly not a priority.
No, definitely nothing from pitching that's going to be a priority. If you landed on either one of these two in like a single entry, I think you probably did it wrong. Large field, they're just dudes that might show up in a lineup or two. I will say, would you rather play Jose Barrios or JT Brubaker?
Brubaker.
Me too. So there, that was the conversation that I wanted to have there. And now we can do other things like, I don't know, having more important conversations, which is talking about these bats. Boston, highest stack score on today's slate, 17.2% top stack percentage. That stack score, when you talk about leverage, you talk about value percentage, everything else, puts it all together, puts a bow on it, going up against JT Brubaker. Pittsburgh, far less so. But how do you look at these two offenses? Because they are the two most chalkiest offenses on the entire slate, and they're in the first game.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a great park to hit in, but it is two of the better matchups. I mentioned Brubaker as not a bad pitcher, but relative to other pitchers on the slate, it's not a spot that you mind targeting. 166 expected ISO to lefties looks pretty good for Rafael Devers. 133 to righties. Verdugo looks like a good value at 3K as well. So I understand why they're getting some ownership. I still don't love this lineup overall. Devers, Bogarts, Verdugo, Martinez are all solid. Christian Arroyo's 2K flat, so that ends up being a pretty nice value. Reese McGuire, same thing. I guess that's one thing, sort of working in their favor is while they're not necessarily all good, they do have some 2K guys. So it works out as really good values. On the other side for the Pirates, clearly not a very good offense, but Winkowski, not a particularly good pitcher either. 13.9% strikeout percentage, 4.59 xFIP so far this year. And you do have some decent value on the Pirates. O'Neal Cruz standing out at 3,900 as one of the top shortstop options. Marcano's leading off again at 2K flat. Brian Reynolds at 4,100 is still cheaper than he probably should be.
I agree with all of these things. Yeah, Marcano now leading off. That's kind of an interesting thing to be looking at. What's also fascinating is Ben Gamble's been better this season than what I ever thought he was, just looking at these numbers. This is wild. I thought he just sucked. He sucks still, right?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you what he's done this year.
He's just a human being in the world batting cleanup here on a very popular baseball team today. I mean, it's a 5-game slate. You got to look at getting to some of these pieces. I'm with you where it's like O'Neal Cruz, 3,900. You get Newman, 3,100. I'm going to be mixing and matching a lot of these guys into lineups. Obviously, Marcano at the floor here with multi-positional eligibility. That's kind of the nice thing about them is you can kind of move around every single player except for O'Neal Cruz. And then the two outfielders, Reynolds, Gamble, that you want to get to, you can kind of really rotate everybody else around quite a bit in lineups. So works out all right. Boston-wise, yeah, that's going to be very popular. No question about it. But Verdugo, 3K, like cash lock, right?
Yeah, I think so. He was in my early cash build. I'm working on other stuff now, but or more up-to-date stuff now. But he was in it. McGuire was in it. Arroyo was in it. Just because punting those guys allowed you to get to some really good payout bats that you wanted to get to. Devers was in it as well.
Okay. So yay, Boston for cash. No Boston for tournaments for me. Well, not no. I'm going to definitely have some, but I mean like nay, bad. We don't want them as much here. Kind of crazy. I mean, that game's kind of easy to break down when it comes down to like, yeah, Boston is probably going to be the team that people get to the second most. I mean, San Diego has got to be the team that ends up being just the priority beyond the priority, right?
You would think so going up against Sanchez.
Yeah, but right now the ownership share is a little bit higher for Boston, but we'll see if that changes here a little bit. On FanDuel, completely different story here because I mean, they're so easy to get San Diego bats. So we shall see. Anything else from this game for you, my friend?
No.
Cool. We're 7 minutes into this show. We might be wrapping a little bit early, is the sense that I'm getting. Maybe doing it maybe 10 minutes early. Jordan Klein. Okay. Yeah, we're going to get ourselves out of here at 3:55. 6:55 for you people with regular time zones, unlike Jordan and I, where we don't like that. Yeah. PU. We do have NFL Live Before Lock coming up too. Preseason NFL. Absolute smash fest. We'll talk a little bit about that later, but pretty sure you guys are going to want to watch Dave Lochran, also known as Laffy, along with Makachevsky, also known as Tuna. I just came up with that on the fly. I got a laugh out of Adam. We continue on. These are good signs. We're trending up, folks. Frankie Montas here. Oh my God. Are you looking at the run sheet for 1 second here, Jordan Klein? I literally wrote... I am so stupid. Toronto Blue Jays, not the Frankie Montases that, just honestly, you should fire me on the spot. Toronto, plus 135 at New York, 8.5 total runs here. Jose Barrios, my least favorite pitcher in the history of humanity, facing Frankie Montas. Let's start with Jose Barrios, because on a slate with, 10 pitchers, because I can count basically 9 pitchers, because one guy we're not going to be playing. Jose Barrios might show up in a lineup or two for me, but let me just say this ahead of time. I could not possibly hate him more. I think the Yankees are my favorite stack on today's slate. They are going to be the team that I ride with the most. Is there any kind of a case other than it's a small slate and he could maybe succeed that you would land on some Jose?
He's 6,700. He's getting 6% ownership. For example, he's getting basically around a third of the ownership that Luis Patino is getting at the same price tag. They do have similar top 2 percentages. That would be the argument you make. I think I would probably go to Brubaker before I went to Barrios, though.
Yay, Lindquist. Yankees, my favorite too. Yeah, I couldn't possibly hate Jose Barrios more than what I do. And it's not like a scorned Twins fan thing. Well, it's a little bit of a scorned Twins fan thing, but he's just abysmal. And the name recognition boosts him up. Nearly a 500 expected slugging, sub 20. One of the things he found the ability to do randomly at the tail end of his Minnesota career, and then last year, was he was getting strikeouts. You start putting him down to a 20.3% K percentage, and there's no question. There's no, he was going to get smacked around. He has a 5.58 expected ERA now this season. And the Yankees, I don't know if you know this, Adam. I think there's some power on that side of the lineup, even absent Stanton and Carpenter.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Couple guys. Cool. Let's talk Yanks. Let's talk Frankie Montas, because this is a guy in large field tournaments that I find myself getting over the 15.8% we're projecting him for right now. Part of it is 7,300. You talked about Patino. We'll get to him a little bit later. The crown jewel of the Blake Snell trade, who has turned out to not be a crown jewel, basically a forged diamond. That was a stupid joke. But we're talking Frankie Montas. How do you feel about him on today's slate?
I agree with you. I think it's a pretty interesting spot to get to in tournaments. Sorry, I'm building new cash game lineups, and they just look really weird.
I thought you were going to be done talking there. And I was like, Adam is taking this to a whole nother level.
No, my cash lineups look weird, so I'm trying to figure out if I put something in wrong or if that's how this slate is. But
you're just a fish. That guy who is always going at you on Twitter. He's like, "Oh, I can't believe you wouldn't play him. You know the Yankees can't hit left-handed pitching." What?
Yeah, so I do think Montas makes some sense in tournaments. It's obviously a scary spot against Toronto, but again, it's a short slate. He's very reasonably priced. Getting about 16% ownership at 7,300 on DraftKings. I really think that price tag just sort of makes up for most of the concerns in this matchup. He has about a 25% strikeout percentage this season, 3.39 xFIP. He's a good pitcher, and we do have him projected to go a bit under-owned, 24% chance of being a top 2 value on DraftKings as well. So while I also am interested in the Toronto side of this game because they're not getting much ownership, I think Montas looks like a good tournament play as well.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that I wouldn't just get to him. Of course, Toronto could light up anybody. They're one of the best offenses in baseball. Their page on Savant is basically just hard hit. Vlad, Chapman, Teoscar, all over 53%. We're talking top 4% of all batters in baseball. They've got 3 guys who hit the ball as hard as you possibly can amongst all of MLB hitters. Bichette has improved drastically in the hard hit department as the season's gone on. Almost a 50% hard hit percentage for him now, 48.6%. Lourdes Gurriel, Alejandro Kirk catcher. it's still a Toronto team. I mean, scummed accurate, if you will, that I want to be getting over the field on too. 7.4% ownership share in this ballpark with this kind of an offense. What am I missing?
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's not a good matchup against Montas, but this just strikes me as one of those spots where, because median projections are going to be a little bit lower for Toronto and a little bit lower for Montas, you're just getting less ownership going to either side, even though you're still talking about two very high upside options, a pitcher with a 25% strikeout percentage and an offense that has plenty of power in this lineup. George Springer is back in the lineup today as well. So you get basically as good a lineup as you can get from the Blue Jays. So I like getting to both sides here in tournaments. And then I do want to touch back quickly on the Alex Verdugo cash lock thing, because I actually don't have him in cash.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Trent Grisham's leading off for the Padres.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Let me just switch this over here. Let me take a look. I had my projected earlier. You're right. That ended up being it. You're playing Soto Judge too in that cash lineup, or is it just straight up pitching?
Soto Judge. So there's only the one outfield spot.
Yep, that's what I figured. That's the same build that I have. So I'm playing some cash, playing a couple tournament lineups, having some fun here. I've got some bullets to fire. I'm a happy boy, but let's talk the Yankees bats, because this is the side that I really want to kind of aggressively put my flag towards, or what? I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'll shut up. Plant my flag. Thank you. Why am I so stupid? I don't know. At least I'm in debt. I don't know. I'm done talking. Just talk about the Yankees.
Pretty good spot against Barrios, who has, like you were saying, not getting a lot of strikeouts this year, also giving up plenty of power with a 191 expected ISO to righties, 244 to lefties. A lot of power in the Yankees lineup. They're in Yankee Stadium, which is nice. Especially for like Rizzo. Benintendi at 3,900 looks pretty good. Oswaldo Cabrera projects to be a league average-ish hitter, but he's 2K flat with second base shortstop eligibility. I think he's cash viable. I think he's a good play in tournaments. This is just, another really high upside spot against a pitcher in Barrios that hasn't been able to limit power this year.
Yeah, Oswaldo Cabrera played really well, excuse me, at AAA. That's what we talked about with yesterday. He's still 2K, y'all. That's really what it comes down to. Gonna have lots of him. Gonna have lots of that Aaron Judge guy, because he hits baseballs pretty hard and far. Pretty hard for me not to be getting to him. Benintendi. Florial's really the only guy that I'm not getting to. I'm not really sure what to make of him at the big league level. Pretty random dude who just exists in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind playing him in Yankee stacks.
Right.
But unlikely I get to him as a priority, like outside of that.
Yeah. Trevino catching for a third straight day. How much do they hate Higashioka?
I mean, Trevino's been good, hasn't he?
He's been awesome, but I'm just saying, it's just like, how is this dude still catching 3 straight days? Like, take a day off, right? How many catchers play 3 days in a row now, other than Molina, but not even him anymore because he's dusty and old.
Night games, a lot of them.
Well, that's true.
I mean, I don't know if they had a day game mixed in there.
Well, Molina, nice 0 for 4 in the middle of all those St. Louis stacks. Hope you enjoyed that, folks. Dusty mother trucker. Yeah, I like Aaron Judge. That shouldn't surprise anybody. Favorite bat from the Toronto side if you had to play one as a one-off?
Probably, I think it's between Vlad, Springer, and Kirk. I would probably lean Kirk just because he's a catcher.
I'm probably going to say Kirk too. I mean, 4,300 for him as opposed to, one of my favorite one-offs today from just a catcher perspective is Sal Perez against Patino, but we'll get there. I mean, terrible ballpark, but you're getting such an ownership decrease coming off of Kirk. Kirk's always popular. That's my major thing there. He's popular again.
Yeah, well, my initial answer was going to be Springer, and then I remembered you have Soto and Judge on the slate, so your outfield spots are kind of limited.
Yeah, that's very fair. Favorite Yankee not named Judge?
Cabrera.
Look at that. Me too. I love that call for you. I love everybody over there hanging out here. We got another game to get to. You guys hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If it's your first time hanging out with us, I have no idea how you chose today to be that day. But hey, we love having you. Over 700 people talking baseball on a Thursday evening. Can't get better than Do You Want My Sweater? But what gets better is NFL preseason. We've got a Live Before Lock coming up right after us. That's why we're going to hit eject just a tiny bit early to help out Jordan Klein behind the virtual glass over there, be able to take care of all his business and be able to make sure you guys can get NFL preseason stuff going. But if you really want to get it going, we got preseason projections. $5 for preseason NFL projections. It's simply as simple as plugging them in and making money. Matt Gajewski's done this now. He did it last year. I did a lot of shows with him. We got Dave, why do I call him Dave again? Laffy, of course, doing all, I'm a absolute joke at the moment, but Tua is the promo code. If you guys want to get those projections, which trust me, you want to get, because Matt Gajewski is an absolute monster of life when it comes to preseason football. He'll name Southwest Texas Biblical's third string starter, who ends up being like the fourth string offensive tackle on whomever else, who knows. But he'll have projections for fifth string running backs you've never heard of and have pretty strong accuracy in that department. So I'm telling you, pay attention to news on twitter.com and pay attention to the projections as he updates those, because I'm telling you, it doesn't get a whole lot better than that. Alrighty, Tua, plug it in, use it, stop guessing, start winning, and join us at Stokastic with some preseason projections. But we have a super chat, couple of them. Cyber Real Estate, $2. What your favorite positions to punt, aka omit or omit? Cyber Real Estate, I think I know what you're getting at, but what are your favorite positions to punt? Well, today it's going to end up being shortstop because I have so much of this Cabrera fellow there, but I don't really ever think about it like that. Do you have like an answer for that? I don't really even know how to think about it. It's obviously broken my brain.
Yeah, no, I don't think about it like that. It's really slate dependent. You kind of just take what's given to you. Like you said, shortstop today is a spot where I'm certainly going to be punting a lot because I have Cabrera. Catcher, I mean, is typically a position where you're going to look to pay down, but that isn't like because of the catcher position. It's just because normally that's how the options work out. There's not that many good hitting catchers in baseball, so a lot of times you just end up going cheap. But yeah, I don't think you should be looking to necessarily just like punt a position. There's no like default like defense like in NFL.
Right. I mean, for me, like there's such an opportunity cost in the outfield because you have Soto, Judge, Springer, all these guys up top, Tommy Pham, even guys up top here. There are just so many of them but still you get like Marcano, who second base outfield. You have dual eligibility. It really just kind of comes down to who are you stacking up, how it comes together for tournaments. And then in cash, you're playing your highest projected lineup and kind of going from there. And it's going to turn into a lot of punts today. I mean, is this the most Starsy and Scrubsy cash lineup build that you've seen in a long time? Because I feel that way.
It's pretty crazy.
I
mean,
mean,
having like Arroyo hitting in the middle of that lineup, having Cabrera hitting in that lineup.
Yep. It's and then 6K guys that are showing up in cash alongside DeGrom or Darvish. Like, just wild what's going on today. But we continue on. And this game, I think this is kind of like the X Factor game of the entire slate because it's a terrible ballpark. We've got Kansas City in Tampa Bay at the Trop. We get Max Castillo. I can't imagine that he's going to be long for this game, and not just from a box score perspective here. He was at AAA Omaha. He stretched out a little bit. He went 3 2/3 his last time out, so that's decent enough. So I don't think the one inning pitched back at the end of what is that? Doing the math, July. There you go. The 29th, the last time he appeared. I don't think he's going to be long for this game. But Luis Patino, very important talking point. 6,700 gets the Royals lineup bump. There's some decent hitters, whether it's Sal Perez, but you don't get Melendez in this lineup. That's a big deal. You get kind of an easier setup there if you can get by Pasquantino. A lot of prospects, a lot of slappers like Nicky Lopez. How do you feel about Patino at his current ownership today?
I think that he's going a little bit overowned, but I don't think it's anything crazy. He does have, like, he's talented. He has good strikeout stuff. Like you were just saying, no Melendez in the lineup certainly weakens it a bit. So I do think that, and he's in Tropicana, 3.1 implied run total for Kansas City. I understand why he's getting the ownership.
Yeah, I get why he is too. I think I'm just going to be paying up a lot more than just having to get down to him. There's so many. It's ironic because we just had all the punt questions, and as far as positions, there are so many guys that are 2K that are showing up in lineups for me today.
Yeah, it's really crazy how much value there is.
There's a ton of value on today's slate. So for me,
it's like messing up what I'm like trying to do right now in Fantasy Cruncher, because like normally when I try and figure out like optimal lineup percentages, I just set like a 49K floor. I don't do that when I actually build my lineups, but today it's like I don't even want to do that because my second highest projected lineup is less than 49K.
Yeah, it's just so easy to get DeGrom and Darvish into lineups, and everything that we patted DK on the back for yesterday. Hey, way to go! You priced up pitching. Yeah. They decided to forget how to do that for this 5-gamer.
Yeah, pretty bad stuff.
Asinine, crazy bastards. But either way, Luis Patino, 16.7%. He's going to be more popular than that. Let me see. Actually, no, we had him higher. 16.8%. That was the number. We'll see, because that's going to be like the guy that people pivot to. And as you said, 3.1 implied run total. That's lower than even what you're looking at for Atlanta going up against DeGrom. That's lower than, Darvish is like so impossible for me not to play tons of today. We'll get to the DeGrom conversation here in a minute, but let's talk bats on both sides. I think Pasquantino is still going to be a guy that I know you like. I know I like. He's just got some crazy pop, and it was unfortunate because I feel like I played him constantly as a one-off, and he goes in double dongs on days on like a double header day where they weren't on either slate, and it was really brutal. But I'll continue to play a guy with a 51.5% hard hit percentage and a 495 expected slugging. Anything from Kansas City other than Sal Perez as well, who I like at catcher, stand out to you?
Yeah, you mentioned Pasquantino. That's just a broken price tag. We've talked about him a lot when he first came up, and he wasn't really getting results, but you could tell from his plate discipline numbers and his hard contact and all of that it wasn't going to be long. And then now he is getting results. He's still 2,300. Bobby Witt is somebody I get to pretty frequently because of the shortstop, third base eligibility. He's always going to be one of the highest upside guys at those positions. Massey's leading off at 2,100. Prado's 2K. He's a top hitting prospect in baseball. I think this is, even though, like you said, the park sucks, you do only have a 3.1 implied run total. If I had to choose one side, I would go to Patino. I do still think that there's upside for Kansas City. And that's something that I've said pretty much every day, and it never works out. But they have a lot of hitting talent in this lineup that just really hasn't quite put it together yet.
Before we talk Tampa Bay, have you ever been on a show with me where Miami Mike gave us a super chat?
I don't think so.
All right, that's question 1. Question 2, have you seen the Saw movies?
No.
Oh, this is going to really be awkward then. Jordan Klein, can I even do such things? I have to. It's required by law. Okay. All right. So, oh my God. Oh my God.
I can't hear you.
You can't even hear me. I've spared your pathetic life just for the sake of this bit, and you don't respect me. I'm telling you, don't play Luis Patino when he's chalky like this.
I do get the impression.
Thank you. Tampa Bay on the other side of this one. Talk to me about your interest level in them in a tough ballpark.
Yeah, tough ballpark, getting a little bit more ownership than they deserve. But I think when you factor in the value that's in this lineup, we have them at a 13.5% chance of being a top value. It makes them a little bit easier to get to. The top 3 guys are relatively expensive, with Diaz at 4K, Lau at 4,900, and Arozarena at 4,700. But after that, really cheap bats. Ji-Man Choi hitting 6th is the most expensive guy not in the top 3 at 3,200. Bethancourt, I think, is a cash game option at 2,400. Taylor Walls can't hit for shit, but somehow he's hitting 5th, so he's a cheap shortstop option.
Do you remember the day where he was batting 2nd and he was like 25% owned, and I said, if you play a share of him, you're dead to me?
Vaguely.
Okay.
But, yeah,
we were on that show together. I remember that one pretty vividly.
Yeah, I don't know how they land on this guy batting 5th, but he is. Yeah, so I think, the ownership kind of is where it should be given the value and their 10% or so chance of being the top stack.
Just asinine to me. Absolute madness. But whatever, such is life. You can't. Could you be a better manager than some managers in MLB? I honestly believe that you could be.
In some regards, like in baseball, like decision making, I think without a doubt. I'm sure that but like I think managers mostly are important in like not having 25 professional athletes kill each other at any point in time. I think that people are probably better in that aspect than I ever could be.
You'd be able to go like, ooh, duck.
Right.
You just run out of the huddle real quick. Oh, did like a what is it? Like the cartoons where the feet go really, really fast and you just zoom underneath them. That'd be you. Also, I hate all of you in chat. I thought that was that's a fine impression. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be my best work, but it's specific, it's interesting, and you are no fun today. No fun crowd. Adam knew it. Adam knew what it was from, and Adam doesn't know jack squat other than Happy Gilmore impersonations that I do. Whatever.
I think those are Billy Madison, so.
You do. That's true. You know what I do know? Odd Shopper is the best place for your sports betting needs, without a doubt. Anything else from that game for you? I should probably ask that.
No.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Oddshopper.com in 30 seconds or less. It's more like 5 seconds because I just clicked, hey, there it is, Odd Shopper. Now I'm on the page. Simple as that. And I'm able to look at the best bets on the board day in, day out, data-driven analysis from guys like, I don't know if you've heard of Alex Baker, Awesemo himself, pretty good. We've got Steve Buzzard, the Colts. We've got Sean Zahn, SZ on the old Twitters. I'm telling you, these guys are just unbelievable when it comes to building out your cards every single day from a sports betting perspective. Specifically, these MLB props are just awesome. You go to shop bets in the top left corner. You simply put in your email, you log in every single day, and you're able to see directly on the page expected ROI numbers, expected win percentage, which is what I'm always concerned about. I'm worried about the prize pick streets because, of course, I am. By the way, I absolutely could not love Nate Lowe any more than what I do after his surprise homer there for me to cover all of those Seager and Adolis Garcia props for me. Whew, it was a beautiful thing to get that homer. But today, I'm looking here at some strikeout props. And I mean, 4.5 is the number you're getting on Max Free. Just give me all of that you got in a bag of potato chips. The overall 4.5, expected win percentage, 68%. I think that is the prevailing number over at Prize Picks as well today. Let me double check because I don't want to just lie to the people and be incorrect about such things. So I head to MLB. I had 2 strikeouts. I just want to double check. It is at 5 over there. Damn them. They moved it up a little bit. So probably going to stay away at 5 over on Prize Picks, but 4.5, if you can get that number at -115, it's got the book specifically there. That is a beautiful thing because maybe people are concerned with his concussion that he might not pitch as long. I am not concerned. I'm more concerned about the matchup. But those are the kind of things that you can do instantly. You can add your analysis, but these data-driven decisions you make in sports betting and finding the best sports book to make these bets day in, day out, that is what's going to give you the winning edge. And you can have all of that for free right now over at oddsshopper.com. Head there right now. Play along at home here as we're going through some of these plays. Under of 9.5 for Jacob deGrom. Looks like a massive 76% expected win percentage winner as well, which brings us to this next game, my friend. And I can't remember a time that I disagreed with a projection that was over on Prize Picks as much as I disagree with what we're looking at for 45.5. It's FanDuel scoring for Jacob deGrom. And here we go. I guess I should preview the game, but it's Mets, it's Braves, Jacob deGrom, Max Fried, and just talk to me about Jacob deGrom because I think I'm going to get a lot of him for DFS today, just like a lot of you guys should. But what is your projection on him today?
23 DraftKings points.
Okay, that's so much more normal. He has a 45.5 pitcher fantasy score over on Prize Picks today. We have him projected around 34, and I think that that's appropriate.
You think which one's appropriate?
I think that the 34 is more appropriate.
I think 34 is low.
Well, I mean, it should be around 39, 40. Like that, right. That makes the most sense. But still, we're talking about a 5.5 fantasy point disparity on like a neutral projection for Jacob deGrom.
Yeah, that's either way. I think it's high. I mean, you're talking about a pitcher with tons and tons of injury history that's thrown 76 pitches in each of his last 2 starts. I expect that they'll allow him to ramp up and start throwing more, but that's far from guaranteeing that he's just going out there and throwing 100 pitches today. So, I think that's a high line on Prize Picks. I'm kind of in the middle between our projections and that Prize Picks projection.
Corey Ballmer. We'll have NAG, the notorious NAG coming back here. My boy Nag. That would be one nerd ass Greg Ehrenberg. But I love having Adam on these, especially because I know he's building a bazillion lineups over there. He's working on his own shit, and nothing makes me happier than knowing that Adam is unhappy right now.
I'm fine.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm just tuning you out and building lineups.
You have to talk about Jacob deGrom right now. Go.
He's really, really good, and the price tag just makes it so like I don't care if he's going to throw more than 75 pitches or not. If he were like 11-5 or something, then maybe I would give it a little bit more thought. But he's just ridiculously good. He's easily the best pitcher on the slate. There's plenty of strikeouts in the Atlanta lineup. You know, they have good hitters, but there's still strikeouts to get here. With all of the 2K hitters that we can get to and DeGrom barely being more than $10,000, I just really don't care. I'm playing a lot of Jacob DeGrom.
Yep. Playing a lot of him, playing a lot of you, Darvish. Welcome to today's slate where you just kind of play them and if somebody else. Oh my God. Alex Bregman finished with 75.8 FanDuel points today. Is that good?
That seems okay.
Seems all right. It was pretty. Again? He had another double, like a 2 RBI double in the ninth off Josh Harrison, if I'm looking at this correctly.
Definitely someone that should have been pitching.
He pitched a lot today. How many pitches? How many pitches do you think Josh Harrison threw today?
35.
28. That was I kind of set it up. 28 is a lot for a second baseman who doesn't pitch.
55 DraftKings points for Bregman.
Is that good?
So this kind of just sums up the early slate. My best lineup in 150 max scored 220 and a half DraftKings points and did not crack the top 100.
It's not ideal. Hey, did you know I got second the other night?
I did.
Just thought, say it was fun. I won the $4 for the third time in less than a month. I feel like that's got to be a record.
Yeah, that one's hard. I mean, they're all hard to win, but like large field 20 max, I think is almost like more difficult.
I have 3. So within 3 weeks, I win 3. Well, it was after the 4th. I've won it 4 times now in a month and a half. And then the last month, I've got 3 because I won the day before I left for vacation. Last Wednesday, won the $4. Tuesday, won the $4. Anyway, this is just me bragging about myself now. You guys should listen to me. Don't listen to Adam. That's what I was kidding, by the way. I was kidding. You're smarter than me. And gosh darn it, people like you. Did you get that one?
I was reading chat and was confused by Adam really did push that Giolito day game narrative this morning. Somebody said it in chat. I did not know what the hell anybody was even talking about.
I have no idea. We do have a $9.99 super chat here. John Bryant, top 3 base option. So I'm assuming top 3rd base option for cash and tournaments. You guys rock. No, John Bryant, when you give us free money, you rock. When you don't, we don't care. But actually, we like you all the time. So here we go. Your cash 3rd baseman for me, Rafael Devers.
Yeah, it's Devers for me too.
Okay. And then for tournaments, it's still going to be Devers in a lot of capacity. But I love Matt Chapman. I mean, he's just really low owned. And I feel like Matt Chapman is like a phenomenal one-off every single day.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, Devers is still, I think, like the number 1 answer for me. But obviously, you'll want to pay attention to, the ownership with the rest of your lineup. Bobby Witt would be one that I think makes some sense just because he gives you power and speed upside against the popular Patino.
Yeah, and Dahlbeck in that same Boston stack, but he has first base eligibility as well. So Brett Beatty went the other night. That was fun. Or that was yesterday. That was yesterday's slate.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Brett Beatty. It's got to be Beatty, right?
I assume it's Beatty. I don't.
Okay, cool. Good talk. Max Fried. Let's talk about him. Dude got a concussion. That seems unfun. But I will say he is probably your 3rd most talented pitcher on this slate. Him and Darvish kind of fighting for that, but one gets a phenomenal matchup, Darvish. One gets a terrible matchup, Max Fried. How do you kind of analyze him for tournament play today?
Yeah, I mean, I think the lack of ownership on Fried is kind of appealing when you compare him to Darvish. Darvish right now getting about 58% on DraftKings compared to 23 for Fried at 8,500, so 500 less than Darvish. We have Fried with a 31% chance of being a top 2 pitcher, Darvish 38%. So maybe a little bit less ownership going to Fried than is deserved. I do prefer Darvish in terms of projection, and if ownership isn't going to matter too much in a given lineup, then I think I just get to Darvish. But I do like Fried as another tournament option that I think just isn't getting quite as much ownership as he should.
All right, we got another $10 super chat. You guys are the best. I was like, how are we going to do an hour show for 5 games for baseball? Well, 1, because I'm so interesting and funny, right? And then secondly, because we get super chats and cover it. Jordan Klein did not agree with that at all. His eyes just went complete. When he what is that look? That look that he gives us, it's almost like it's like a squirrel that has diarrhea.
I'm going to clear this up again for Sean. I pushed back on Greg's criticism of Lucas Giolito, the pitcher, not the DFS play today against the Astros. Pay more attention to the things that I say.
Get him. Let's go, Adam. I've never seen you like get upset with somebody in chat before. This is lovely. Normally you just like condescend, but you were like, you're upset about this take.
No, I'm not upset about it. It's just like annoying to have like a 5-minute conversation and then have like multiple people just like act like they don't speak English.
Sean V, honestly, might be one of them. EMAC, what's up? EMAC 2024 hanging out there in the chat too. Pay more attention. That's very true. And I am here, Jake Nunley, to stir the pot. I'm just sitting here, just living my life. Let's talk some bats though here. There's no way that I'm playing an Atlanta bat against Jacob deGrom, even on a 5-game slate, even in this spot. Can you make a case other than if you just do it every single day, you stack up against them? But like, I mean, what are we doing here?
That's like the only case I can make. Like Atlanta's got a lot of power. Obviously the upside's still really high, but that's about it.
There's other places to go even on this 5-gamer. I don't have a single share of any Atlanta bats. So congratulations to me. Of course, Atlanta's going to hang up a 10 spot or something now. Let's talk the Mets bats, because this is very interesting to me coming off of yesterday. It's the same way I feel about the Yankees, where it's a team that's so good. And if I'm going to beat the Padres, if I'm going to beat Boston, if I'm going to beat some of these other stacks, why wouldn't I just take a low-owned share or two of these Mets stack? How about you?
I think you're a little higher on them than I am.
Well, there you go. You have like 0.
I don't know yet. But
here's the thing. They're very low owned, and Atlanta's very low owned. And in the context of this slate, why wouldn't I just take all of anything that I would do with Washington or Atlanta trying to be cute and just move that directly to the Mets, who are an actual serviceable offense?
Yeah, I mean, I just think Fried's really, really good too. I
do. I didn't say he wasn't, but like,
yeah, okay. So I think like the Braves and the Mets are both going under-owned, but I do think that the Mets are more likely to succeed. I think that goes without saying because they're not facing Jacob deGrom. So yeah, I guess I do agree with your point that like if you're going to go to a low-owned good offense, they're pretty much your option.
Yeah, unless you're just going to play. I mean, the best plays on this slate are all owned like it. Like there's no
except for so like I think I get to Toronto before I get to the Mets probably.
Okay, I would agree with that. I like Toronto far more than I like the Mets, but like if you're making 20 lineups, you're still going to have room for some Mets in that.
Yeah, and I'll have a better answer in a second because I just finished up lineups.
All right, I love that. I love that journey for you. I'm looking at Atlanta here on the other side. Again, not a single share, but the Mets. The other thing that's really nice about that is Francisco Lindor can go out and win you a position by himself, just about any slate against anybody. I think that has to at least bear some kind of ownership for me. I mean, he's sub 4%. He probably should be at 5,700, but like, as I said, there's so many punts, so many places that we can go across the board at 2K. I can play literally as much Darvish and deGrom and then just throw in some Lindor is what I want.
Yeah. So I actually have more Darvish than deGrom.
I have more Darvish than the deGrom for what it's worth.
Okay.
I mean, it's 10-3 kind of stops you from getting a couple of those top end bats, and you're going to win tournaments. Like, here's the thing. Max Fried is going to be a guy that I get a little bit over the field on. We'll talk about one other guy that I have a couple shares of in the next game, but he's pretty terrible.
Should have known that was going to happen. So I didn't really get to Toronto. I didn't get to the Mets. I didn't get to the Braves.
Good talk.
Tons and tons and tons of Padres. That's not surprising. Bunch of Kansas City. That just is an everyday occurrence at this point.
It's kind of absurd because Kansas City's always projected for like a 3 total. It's kind of the way I felt about Detroit a little bit yesterday too, where you almost have to disregard what the implied run total is because there's individual hitters I just really like from Kansas City.
Right, exactly. And the other thing about Kansas City is like they fill out useful positions. Salvador Perez takes a weak catcher position. Bobby Witt gets third base, shortstop, which are typically 2 difficult positions. Second base is a position where there's not a lot to like today, and you have a 2K Massey. Pasquantino is legitimately good. Prado's got multi-position eligibility. So does Dozier. They're both really cheap. So it's just a team where it just ends up being really easy to make lineups with them.
I remember when Hunter Dozier was good. Those were fun days.
Yeah.
It's been a while. been a while. Anything else from Mets Atlanta for you? You got no Mets whatsoever.
Yeah, I've less than 1% aggregate exposure to the Mets.
You are taking some stance today. I like it. I like it a lot. Just like you guys should all be hitting the like button. That goes a long way for us here over at Stokastic. But another thing that'll go far for you is signing up right now over at Stokastic and getting 50% off right now using promo code MLB Live. That's all caps. It's one word. 50% off your first week. If you've never tried anything out behind the paywall, you just hear us talking about the top pitchers tool, top stacks tool, the top batters tool, which is freaking awesome, the top golfers tool, help you find some great leverage, like, I don't know, not playing Tony Finau. Go Adam, go me. Talking about all of these amazing, amazing tools that we have on the site. 50% off right now with MLB Live. This is the time to go try and experiment with the baseball because baseball streets have been awesome of late. And part of it is just, we've got to bide our time here before NFL. And I can't tell you how much fun it is to be able to make multiple slate lineups and everything else super easy. Everything's bracketed over on the top stacks tool on a day like today by early slate, night slate, turbo slate, late night, afternoon. It's not just the main slate every single day that you have access, tools, and projections for. You'll get every single game broken down, every showdown projection, everything you could possibly want for MLB at your fingertips. What did I say? MLB Live is what we want. MLB Live promo code. There you go. And then look at this. The MLB DFS player comparison tool. Look at this. We've got Jordan Klein on his shit today here. Jacob deGrom compared to Max Fried. That's the kind of reason that Yu Darvish is my highest owned pitcher is Jacob deGrom, sub 80 pitches. Does he mow down 12 occasionally in those, kind of like he did against Atlanta last time out that he faced him to, what was it, second of 3 starts? Absolutely. But Max Fried is still a guy that I think you've got to get over the field on. I'm curious, your pitching breakdown, you said that you got more Darvish than DeGrom. We're in the same boat there. How much Max Fried did you land on?
6%.
It's not a lot.
No.
Okay. Good talk. Glad we had it. But this comparison.
Pretty much around the field on DeGrom, over the field on Darvish, under the field on Fried, slightly over on Montas, about the same on Brubaker, about the same on Patino, and then just basically nothing of anybody else.
Yeah, but that MLB DFS player comparison tool, I know Sky behind the scenes here has been doing an amazing job putting everything together for us to be able to talk about it on these shows and just having access to this tool. 1v1 player comparison tool. For MLB, this is phenomenal. For NFL, this is going to be awesomer. That's not a word, but it's great. We've got Yu Darvish, Jacob deGrom, basically 50% in terms of their salary projection. Everything else makes a lot of sense there. They're the 2 highest owned dudes, and they absolutely should be. Eric, please tone down the look at me rant. What did I do? What did I say? Look at me. I don't know what I said. I said fingertips. Yeah, I knew it came out weird. I tried to say at your fingertips. I said, I'm just glad I didn't say finger dicks because that's a weird thing to say. What's the movie where the aliens pee out of their finger?
You know you're asking the wrong person, right?
I know, but I'm talking to myself, and it's the same way that you treat me on shows, so I don't really give a shit. Somebody in chat has to let me know. What is the movie where the aliens pee out of their fingers? Can't remember. Good talk. Glad we had it. Let's talk one more baseball game, shall we? Then we'll put a bow on this slate and get ourselves the heck up out of her. Let's talk it. It's the Padres. It's the Washington Nationals. Said Nationals. I mean, they should just be like I don't know. I don't have a joke. 2.5 implied run total looks really, really bad. And Yu Darvish looks really, really good. My highest owned pitcher. Your highest owned pitcher. Why don't you tell the people why?
He's 9K flat. He's got the second highest strikeout percentage on the slate behind DeGrom at 25%. 3.55 xFIP is solid. He's not walking guys this year, only a 5% walk percentage. The Nats absolutely suck. They don't strike out a ton, but their lineup is just really, really bad. One of the worst active rosters in baseball right now. So it just sets up as a spot that's really easy to get to. Like you said with DeGrom, not that 10-3 is prohibitive, but there are some times where that $1,300 matters. And I think that's just pushing Darvish into lineups a little bit more than DeGrom, even though I'm getting tons of DeGrom as well.
Yep. It's going to be a fun slate. That's for sure, because Yu Darvish, if he fails, I mean, I don't really even know what to say. This is such a bad lineup. And Joey Meneses, is he the toughest hitter to get by right now in this Nationals team?
I mean, he's playing like it, even though he's like a 30-year-old non-prospect.
I know. What is going on?
I have no idea.
Now batting second. What in the flying F? Scary Movie 3 was the answer. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I just don't remember it.
Oh, good talk. God. What is your favorite movie of all time?
Good Will Hunting.
That's a great answer. That was like rapid fire, had it in the chamber. Yeah, it's not your fault. Adam, it's not your fault.
I get the quote.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It was so much fun. Yeah, I waited until you got back. You left, and I just was like, I'm just not even going to talk. I stopped talking. We were quote. I did like a wild whatever. We were just doing a quote, and then so for the people who don't know, Jordan Klein just left his chair for a second, so I just stopped talking. And
I didn't know why you did it either. I was like trying to figure out where I messed something up in a spreadsheet, and you just stopped talking. I was like, okay.
And you kept working, didn't you?
Yeah.
I love these shows. There are no rules, and I abide by no. I mean, let's be serious. I'm a company man, but still, that was so fun. Let's talk Anibal Sanchez, because I actually have some shares. Am I the dumbest person who's ever walked the earth?
Pretty close to it.
Yeah, thank you. I have 2% of him.
Yeah, I mean, if he lands in a random lineup, like whatever. But I don't really see a need to get to him. I don't think I got any. Yeah, I got literally 0.
It's cool. He's really bad. And you
Yeah,
said lots of Padres. So let's talk about the team that I think just ends up the uber chalk of all uber chalk of all uber chalk in the history of uber chalk. Not to be confused with lift chalk. That's different. That was a good joke too. You didn't laugh at all. San Diego Padres, talk to me.
I mean, Sanchez is just really bad, and aggregate ownership on the Padres is not really that different than a lot of other offenses. And so it makes me just like really want to get to them, and then I can, go under the field on some of the other more popular offenses. Right now in the top stacks tool, we have them at 18% aggregate ownership. Boston's at 19%. The Yankees are at 14%. San Diego, 18% chance of being the top stack. And there's value here. There's great hitters here. Soto, Machado, 2 of the top options on the entire slate. Drury's got a ton of power. The only real negative is that Drury and Bell play the same position, but they both have power. Cronenworth has power. Myers has first base outfield eligibility, so he looks like a reasonable cash option and a good tournament option. It's just a really, really good lineup against a pitcher in Anibal Sanchez, who is really bad. 5.36 xFIP so far this year, 16% walk percentage, 10.4%, 16% strikeout percentage, 10.4% walk percentage, 204 expected ISO to righties, 160 to lefties. I just think the Padres look better than anybody else.
Everything's so dreary and everyone's so vague. That's Puddle of Mud, by the way.
It is.
I'm glad you knew that. Jordan Klein, have you ever heard of the band Puddle of Mud? There was a 0% chance I knew that. I knew that was a fact. Have you ever heard the song He Hate Me? Have you heard that one, Jordan? Just another interesting way of me killing time. Spiting, twiddling the thumbs, talking Puddle of Mud. It's fine. I don't have any Washington interest, do you?
No, I didn't get to any.
Cool. Well, that kind of does it. In terms of breaking down these game by game, hit that like button for sure. We need to get those likes up as we finish out the show. We've got 4 minutes. So if you guys want to fire up some questions, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to head to the Discord, because Greg Ehrenberg, tell you, I go away for like 4 days and I come back and everybody's going to the premium Discord. But you know what? That's a pretty great place to hang out. If anybody has some questions over there right now, I will answer those first. But if you want to throw some into YouTube chat here as well, I'm happy to do that. Awesome. Yeah, She Effing Hates Me. That is the song. La, 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 la. It's beautiful. But let's recap. Favorite pitchers not named Jacob deGrom and Yu Darvish.
As far as ones I'm getting to on DraftKings, Patino and Montas.
All right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Montas is my big stand in that next tier of pitcher. I really hope he does well because that would be good for me. Favorite 3 stacks on the board today?
Again, just going by what I have or what I'm playing. Padres, Yankees, Kansas City.
I love it. We're getting the actual facts because you know what? Normally you're able to at the end of the show be like, oh, I think I'm going to get to them. And then an hour later, oh, I got to all of the Baltimore. Oh, look at me winning all the money. Oh, look at me. It's about accurate.
But no, that's actually what I'm at today is tons of Padres and then the Yankees and then Kansas City.
All right. Yankees 1, Padres 2 for me. Kansas
Tampa
City,
Bay
I totally get it. Well. Tampa Bay. I said it's kind of the X factor game, I think, on this slate. Like there's some value you just kind of want to get to.
Yeah, it's kind of like the 4 teams I'm getting to, or San Diego like by a mile.
Yeah.
And then New York, Kansas City, Tampa. And then I'm just not getting a whole lot of anything else. Boston's 5th, but like I'm getting like half as much Boston as I am Tampa.
Jars of clay, shoved it in my face. See, these are all beautiful things. This pain you gave to me. What did I swear Eric said he. What are we talking about? I don't know. But let me double check. Everything seems pretty chalky from Robashua. What's the clearest path to winning a large field GPP? Atlanta or some other route? Not Atlanta. I can tell you that much.
Where's the question? I didn't see
Robashua. It's in the premium Discord. So everything seems chalky. What's the clearest path you think to winning a GPP today?
I would hopefully say the Padres, considering they're in like all of my lineups.
All right. And our very last question here of the day before we get up on out of here, we have the process asking. Oh, I love the process. Who is your favorite low-owned guy to get to? Favorite low-owned bat?
I have no idea.
Why don't you just look at your lineups, Adam?
Well, because I don't know.
Just look at your lineups.
I don't know off the top of my head who's low-owned.
I do. I can tell you if you say somebody who isn't low-owned.
Is Bobby Witt popular?
Bobby Witt is not popular at all. What are you talking about?
I have 21%.
Yeah, he's 11%. That on a 5-game slate, that completely counts. That's a beautiful thing. See, you can answer questions too. Well done.
Are any of the Padres not popular?
No, they're all popular. Gleyber Torres as well.
I mean, Austin Nola's 9%. I have 48%.
Let's see.
I have 27% Drury at 9%.
Drury's my second favorite one off to Matt Chapman today.
I have 27% Kim at 9%.
Go Padres. San Diego fan over there. Just a hop, skip, and a jump down the 5 that direction. Correct, Jordan Klein? I believe that's what it is. Then the 210. You have to do some weaving. It's whatever. But guys, that is the MLB Live Before Lock show. We're getting off a little bit early because we got to make way for the preseason NFL here. I got to get Jordan Klein you got to get him rested up. I'm glad he was able to relieve himself mid-show. That was very, very important. But glad he was able to make that work. Make sure you guys hit that like button as we get out of here. Make sure that you're also subscribed over to Odd Shopper, to the channel over there. I've got a show that I do every single day. It's a VOD. It's called Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Gives you my favorite bet from every single MLB game the night before every single day of the week, and then A-Town over the weekends, and that's always fun to watch. But Adam Scherer, Ship My Money DFS over on Twitter. Go follow him there. Any final words for the people, my dude?
Go Padres.
Go Padres. Thank you to Jordan. Thank you to Adam. I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the MLB streets tonight.